Okay, I'm making this short video to help the folks that are having a problem with their 89M200 machine locking down when they bring it over. I'm not going to do this under power because I don't want to damage anything or possibly damage anything, but I'm going to do it by hand to show you what to do. First off, in one of my other previous YouTube videos, I show you how the compensator works, compensator tube system. And basically, if you purchase this machine from us, there's no need to ever have to mess with the compensator spring. You get a few wrenches that come with the machine. The biggest one is for the compensator tube or for the compensator spring. The way we set it in the factory is we run it all the way up tight and then we back it off about a half a turn to a turn. Should never have to touch that again. Then the next size down wrench, that's the one that changes the pinch setting for your machine, which means you could either move this lower die holder up or down, depending on how you want to set your pinch setting on whatever you're doing. It may be grommets, it may be like this one, punching holes or baby snaps. So this here, if your machine comes down under power and it basically locks down right there, it stops and you have to turn it off because the motor is still running and it's burning the belt. And you're like, oh, you know, something's wrong with my machine. Well, yeah, something is wrong with your machine. Your pinch is way too tight. As you can see, you have die to die. Your dies are hitting. There's nowhere else. This machine needs to make the revolution and there's nowhere else for these dies to move, so it's going to lock down. So what you want to do at that time, number one, if you want to back the machine up, you could take a straight wrench like this, put it in between these two screws back here, and you could literally turn it and back it up. It's that easy. But let's say you're at this point here. The other thing you can do is loosen this screw. You loosen this screw, you take your, not your biggest, but your next to the biggest wrench, slide it up in there and you'll feel it. It goes into a bolt. And at that time, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, you could start backing off on the pinch setting. And what you're doing is you're lowering that die holder. Don't know if you could see this, but I'm literally dropping that to where now the dies aren't touching. This should roll over, which it does. Now you can see by hand it comes down and it didn't touch. It would literally make a hole if I needed it to. So all I did there was I dropped this lower die holder. I backed off on the pinch. Now again, if that, like that hole, you seen it didn't cut it all the way, I would probably take and go back on this and turn it just a little bit right there to make it cut the complete slug out of the fabric so that it didn't hang on. Once I'm done with that, I come back and I tighten this screw. If you don't tighten this screw, what's going to happen, you're going to make X amount of attachments and your pinch setting is going to, this is going to back off. It's not going to get tighter per se, it's probably going to get looser. So your snap will start to get loose on whatever garment you're applying it to. So once you tighten that up, of course this screw should always be tight, but all this screw does, it goes in this slot right here. It keeps this die holder from moving side to side. It's only supposed to go up and down with the compensator that's set from the factory. As you can see, I could probably use a little bit more tension on that. Either that or my die is actually needs to be sharpened, which is probably it. Looks like someone sharpened this one time before. But I'll show you in slow motion. I'm literally coming down now, and I could feel that I'm right there to where those dies are barely touching. But you don't want them to literally be hitting each other, because now you're taking the chance at damaging something. That's the way you do this machine. Pretty simple and easy. You just have to follow these directions.